right, everyone. We're back. MTL Sports Podcast, episode 81. Basketball heavy episode. March Madness. We're 1 day away, folks. By the time you watch this episode, it'll be the day of, right? So, with that being said, we'll take a look at the overall bracket. The first four games are going to be ending tonight. So, when you watch this tomorrow, you should already figure all that stuff out. But that might not even matter. We'll just go over the bracket. Maybe pick some upsets, who you should be picking for, who you shouldn't, all that good stuff. And, of course, we got our weekly NBA picks. So, all that being said, stay tuned. Start with the NBA. Let's knock that out so we can get right down to the nitty-gritty. March Madness is what you guys are probably going to want to hear more. So, with that being said, there's no really NBA news for this week. We got a couple of injuries. Bam is out. Donovan Mitchell, I think he broke his nose or something, so he's going to be out for a couple weeks. Who else? Some other stuff going on in the association. I can't really remember right now. So we'll just go straight into the schedule. Start picking some games starting on Thursday. All right, looking at this slate Thursday, guys. Honestly, I would probably only touch this New York and Denver game. Denver's are they actually at home? They were on a little road trip. They're back home. Who do we got? New York. They still don't have OG. But we're taking Denver. Lawrence, who you got in this one?
I have no idea what's happening in NBA right now. I won't lie to you. So I'm going to take Denver just because I know New York has a lot of injuries. But I couldn't honestly tell you what's happening with NBA. I'm all in for this March Madness. I know OG's still out. I think they had he had flare-ups in his elbow, so they were holding him off. The Knicks, they got their game back against Golden State for Golden State beating them at home. So I think the Knicks go on a little bit of a quiet streak.
Good stuff. Knicks 8.5. That's pretty tempting. I took the Knicks spread against the Warriors. That was a good bet right there. But in this case, Denver is pretty good at home. Probably that opening line was probably way better than this 8.5. But if you're feeling risky, take that +8. But I would think Denver will win this one at home. Moving on to the Friday games, we have New Orleans and Miami. Miami lost last game versus Philly. No Jimmy. Duncan left halfway through the game. No Hero. In this one, Jimmy's playing tonight, so he should be playing on Friday. We'll see about the stats with Bam. At home, I'm taking Miami. They got a lot to play for. Pelicans kind of locked in that 4 or 5 situation, so not necessarily a must-win for them. Must-win for Miami, I think. I'm going to go Miami. Who you got in this one?
I would take the Pelicans based on my previous knowledge. They're a top 10 offense and a top 10 defensive team, so I'm going to take that.
Yep, they've been playing really well. Zion's apparently he's lost 25 pounds.
I want to lose 25 pounds.
Something we all do. Got to get this on my bod, but these Baja Blasts, they keep a hold on me. But I can see why you picked the Pelicans in this one. Other games Friday, we have Cleveland, Minnesota. They both missing players. I think Donovan Mitchell's still going to be out. Dean Wade possibly might be out. Max Strus, and then Timberwolves, of course. No Gobert, no Cat. I think we're in Minnesota at the Target Center. I would take Minnesota. They almost went to overtime last night against the Nuggets, so I'm taking Minnesota. How about you?
I'll take Minnesota at home. for no other reason.
Pretty safe bet. I think the Philly LA game might be a little fishy. I probably wouldn't touch that one, honestly. I'm looking towards Saturday. Honestly, we can skip Saturday. All these games are poopers. I wouldn't touch any of them. That's a bad NBA slate, guys. Sunday, we got a rematch of Cleveland Miami. I would probably just take Miami because they're at home. Philly
OKC
LA
on the road.
Ooh, Milwaukee. Okay, yeah. We don't know if Giannis is going to play in this game. He's not playing tonight versus the C's. Who knows if he comes back in time for this game. I would, whatever the spread for OKC is, I would take. Obviously, we don't know because it's a Sunday game, but I'm thinking OKC spreading this one. But they're in Milwaukee, so I don't know. It's a tough one. If I'm going to pick an outright winner, that's a tough one.
I'd take OKC.
I would take Bucks if Giannis plays, but if he's not playing, I would probably take this OKC spread. Either way, if it's plus or if they're going to plus or minus. I think Sunday we have Golden State, Minnesota. We're in Minnesota. Golden State's not too good on the road. I'd probably take Minnesota in this one, even though this is down the stretch. All these games for Golden State, LA, Phoenix, all these teams, they're must wins. But Golden State's just not good on the road.
I couldn't tell you. I'd take Minnesota just because they're at home. I'm a firm believer that Golden State's not going to make the tournament. Make the NBA playoffs, play in. So I'm going to have to stick to my guns and take Minnesota because I'm going to need Golden State to lose a little bit more games in order to make that happen.
The last game of the day, Indiana Pacers. They're in LA at Crypto.com Arena. Goat James is probably going to win this one, guys. I probably think the Lakers. Lakers are pretty good at home. Pacers, as you can see, their away record isn't too shabby. So go ahead and lock in Lakers for this one. Don't take their spread. Lakers, they are pretty bad about covering the spread. I would not take their spread. No.
I say we get frisky and put some money on them Pacers.
Pacers spread, I would do. Lakers spread, no. But in terms of gambling, props, this would be a good game for props because Lakers don't play defense and Pacers are all about that offense. So you might want to just, experiment with some risky bets. You might win a little some extra. All right, now let's move on. That was like a quick 5-6 minutes. Let's move on to March Madness. Take a look at the bracket, y'all. I guess first off, upset. I guess let's do upsets first. In the first round, who do we see as potential upsets? Whether that's one losing to a 16 seed, or 5 losing to a 12, whatever the case might be.
All right. So my possible upsets that I would bet on, if you are a fan of DraftKings, on what is it? I think it's 21. Today's the 20th, right? On 2/21, you get a free bet up to $25 for any upset, and if you lose, you get your money back. So for 3/21, a good upset I like is Duquesne to beat BYU. I also would tell you Samford to beat Kansas is a good one. The winner, Colorado State to beat Florida is a good one.
Yes.
Note that all these teams have to be either ranked 10 or higher, so they have to be a 10 seed or higher in order to use the bet. So, some more I like. I'm just going to go down the list of upsets I like.
Go down the list.
I know New Mexico's not an upset because they actually are the favorite over Clemson. But I believe New Mexico is going to stomp the floor of Clemson. I don't think Clemson deserves to be a 6 seed, let alone even, they don't think they should have been as comfortable as they were in the tournament. Your one big claim to fame all season was beating UNC. Okay, cool. Every team slips up once in a while, but they really didn't do anything else the rest of the season. Drake isn't really an upset, but Drake to beat Washington State. Washington State plays really boring and not very fun. Drake doesn't make a lot of mistakes, so they kind of are a good cog for Washington State being a 7 seed, but a 10 seed losing to a 17, something crazy. If we want to get frisky with some things that we think can happen, I think UAB being a 7.5 underdog versus San Diego State is absolutely atrocious. I think UAB has a real shot of winning that game. Let's see here. Let's go down the list. I guess Michigan State, Mississippi State's not really anything crazy to 9 versus 8, but I think Michigan State easily can beat Mississippi State. 9 seeds are kind of more notorious anyways. Moving down, Nevada's a 10 seed beating Dayton. Who did Dayton beat all year? No one. So no. I don't think Dayton's that crazy. The winner of the winner of Colorado and Boise State, whoever has to play Florida, I'm automatically taking whoever wins to beat Florida. I don't think Florida is that good, especially now that they're one of their big, tall white boys is gone for the season. I can cut it there. He's possibly not going to make it. I got James Madison to make an actual deep run. I think James Madison can beat Wisconsin. They're a good thorn for Wisconsin. Wisconsin likes to play slow. James Madison likes to play fast. Wisconsin doesn't like to shoot threes. James Madison loves the three. They're really good at shooting. And then I think against Duke, I think James Madison has a real legitimate shot because I think Duke plays soft. And I think that's something you can't do when you don't want to get upset is play soft. The next, after they looked last night, I really want to take Samford to beat Kansas. I don't know why I said they played last night. I really want to take Samford to beat Kansas. I just think that's my favorite upset that I've seen for tomorrow's slate. And I'm going to throw my free $25 bonus bet on it. Well, I'm going to throw my $25 on it to get my free $25 bonus bet just in case I lose. But we're hoping and we believe in Samford get the upset.
Yeah, I could see that. Surprised you didn't say McNeese to beat Gonzaga. I heard a lot of guys are picking that. I also I actually put it down my bracket, McNeese beating Gonzaga in all my brackets. I made 3 brackets. And then I think in 2 of my brackets, I have NC State beating Texas Tech. NC State's looked very good in the ACC tournament. They impressed me. So I haven't seen much of Texas Tech, but, if you're hot, I think you're going to stay hot going into the tournament. So I have them winning. Surprised you didn't throw that out there.
I just think NC State is a little too flawed, and they get in foul trouble a lot. And I think the Big 12 is a little better than the ACC this year. I thought the ACC was kind of a little bit of a letdown. It's also why I'm confused why Clemson was so highly rated. McNeese State, I am down for the upset ability, but I just think that everyone is taking McNeese. I think everyone is believing in McNeese. And my only problem with that is when everyone always believes something, you always got to fade the public. So I'm decided to fade the public. I'm just going to go Gonzaga and play it safe because that's how you get got is you go with the public.
I don't know. We got 23.6%.
That's not the public, bro. That's just a matchup predictor. That's not the public. If you go look at different sites I've showed you, the Pickett app, like everyone's on McNeese. It's not really it's not lopsided enough in one way or the other to make me confident about it. One of the ones that's a little disappointing is Michigan State. They're barely a favorite. They're like a -1.5. And the problem with Michigan State is everyone is taking Michigan State. So Even though I like the bet, I'm probably going to have to fade it just because all the public is on it. Because you know me, no matter what, at the end of the day, I'm going to fade the public. Even if I like something or I don't like something.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, I think next we should look at which number 1 seed will lose first. Now, damn sure it won't be the Houston versus Longwood, but which number 1 seed do we think is going to fall out this tournament first?
I'm gonna come with the hot take. I think it's UConn.
Ah, okay. At the hands of who do you think?
I think Auburn takes out UConn.
Okay, so that would be Sweet 16. Okay.
My only problem with Houston is I think Houston has a really easy ride because in Nebraska, I don't think Texas A&M deserved to be a 9 seed for one. I don't know how. In my opinion, I don't think Texas A&M was all that awesome. I think Nebraska will probably win that first round matchup. But my problem with it is Nebraska goes through hot and cold droughts, and that's just not something you can't do that against Houston because they're just going to be consistent through the whole time playing defense and offense. Whether or not they run up the score hard, they're still consistent throughout the whole game. And, you know, the number 4 team, quote unquote, in that region to upset them would be Duke. And I've said it all season and I'll say it more. Like, I just think Duke plays too soft. I don't think they're that tough. I mean, when I say tough, I mean, I don't think they're very physical. I think Filipowski, I think he folds in the paint really easy, and teams with good bigs take advantage of that. So that was one of the reasons why NC State was able to take advantage of them so easily because they got basically a defensive end / linebacker playing center. He's not very tall, but he's very powerful and physical, and Duke can't handle that. So, and if you look in the bottom region, I don't think UNC or Purdue. In my opinion, I think they gave Purdue the easiest route possible, and everyone's making the same comparison to a few years ago when UVA lost in the first round to a 16 seed. The very next year, they gave UVA a pretty easy route to the final. Purdue last year lost in the first round to a 16 seed. And you look at it, they have to go against. I mean, like I've already said, like Utah State doesn't deserve to be an 8 seed. They deserve to be a little lower, but the fact that they're going to have to play Purdue is a little rough. Gonzaga and McNeese, everyone's thinking McNeese might win. If they upset, I think Sanford might upset Kansas, but I know Kansas isn't going to be that strong because I think it's Kevin McCullough isn't going to make the tournament. He's out. He's hurt. So if he's gone, Hunter Dickinson might be gone. He's not guaranteed to play or not. So Sanford looks really good in my book in order to take an upset. But if both those teams upset, then one of them plays Purdue. I mean, that's just an easy route for Purdue. And then again, for North Carolina, I think Alabama takes care of business against Charleston. But I just think that Grand Canyon will probably beat St. Mary, and I think Grand Canyon could probably beat Alabama. So then you got North Carolina playing Grand Canyon, and, North Carolina's going to take that too. So in my, humble opinion, I know I'm not some, fortune teller or anything, but I just think that UConn, I mean, honestly, UConn got the short end of the stick. Like, they're the number 1 team in the country, the number 1 team overall, and you put Auburn, Illinois, and Iowa State on the same side as them. That's just idiotic. I mean, all 4 of those teams are hot from winning their conference tournaments, which means all 4 of them are hot enough in order to make an upset. So I think it's a little BS that all 4 of those ended up on the same side, and, they'll have to play, they'll have to beat each other up in order to make it to the final, but it is what it is. But in my opinion, I thought the committee did a horrible job at that one.
Yeah, not their finest moment for sure.
And the fact that they let UVA play in the play-in game, the fact that they even gave UVA a bid, and like we said on Monday, UVA was going to get stomped. The meme is UVA went 52 actual minutes without scoring.
Yeah, it was. I didn't watch it. Didn't want to. Sorry, I knew the result. UVA was going to get stomped. And lo and behold, they got stomped. I think for me, I think Purdue, I think they just going to fuck up somehow, and I think they're going to be the first ones out. Do I know who it's going to be against? No idea, but I think they're going to be the first number 1 seed to lose. I don't have any faith in them, especially after last year. Don't have any faith in them, so I'm going to go with them. I guess looking at the bracket also, what team that's not a number 1 team do you think has the best shot to win the whole thing? Whether that's Illinois, Ohio, or Iowa State, Marquette. Like, which one of these teams do you think that's not, the number 1 seeds think has the highest chance?
I think the winner between Kentucky and Marquette has the highest chance of making that run. I think Kentucky will handle against Oakland, even though I've been high on Oakland all season. It's just a bit, it's just an unfortunate draw. I feel like, if Oakland was given a different 3 seed or given a 13 seed or a 15 seed, I think they could have made a little bit more noise. I just think the matchup against Kentucky is horrible for them because they don't like to play defense. Kentucky's horrible at playing defense, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to be able to score with Kentucky. But I think the main problem for Kentucky will end up being Marquette. I think Marquette has a good chance of making a run at it. That Shaka Smart ability, but also you can get Shaka. When you need to rely on Shaka, Shaka will let you down super hard.
When you need him the most, he will vanish.
He will vanish. I think a good team that has a chance to make a long run, and I'm not saying a Final Four, but I'm just talking about a good long run. I think it's New Mexico. I think New Mexico against Clemson is favorable for New Mexico. I think New Mexico against a probable Baylor is a good matchup for them. And then if that all happens, you get Dayton versus Nevada. Whoever comes out of that plays Arizona. I think Arizona comes out of their first round. I think Arizona comes out of that. I have a gut feeling that New Mexico could take out Arizona. Arizona was crap on the road all season. And I don't think they're just going to automatically get better just because it's NCAA. And Arizona's always been known to make some letdowns happen in tournaments. So I have no faith in Arizona. So I believe that New Mexico could be like an Elite Eight team. I feel strongly that New Mexico could make a run to the Elite Eight as like an 11 seed. Outside of, as a top ranked seed, or not top rank, as a low ranked seed, who else could make a run? I kind of have to lean a little towards, I guess they're not really a top ranked team or a bottom ranked team. It's like Texas. Again, I feel that Texas has a nice little path because Tennessee in the SEC championship, their first round matchup or their second round matchup, whatever their first game, they got blown out by Mississippi State, and I don't think Mississippi State's all that good. I think Texas should be able to handle a Colorado State because Colorado State was having trouble with Virginia, who couldn't score for multiple minutes until it got out of hand. But I think and I feel if Texas can upset Tennessee, I think that momentum should be able to help them upset Creighton because I don't think Creighton's all that amazing either. And once you get around Creighton, all you got to do is take care of Purdue. I think Purdue is beatable, but it all depends on what Texas team shows up. We might get a poopy Texas team that doesn't even show up. So that's just one of those teams I think might make a run. But if I was, a betting man, I think New Mexico to make the Sweet 16 is a very juicy one.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What else do you see when looking at this bracket? We went over pretty much everything that we could, at least for now. Once the first and second round complete this weekend, we'll revisit. We'll revisit next week. But anything else when you look at the bracket that the viewers or listeners should know before making their bracket or before placing bets, like anything else?
Obviously, I think you got to be careful when placing your bets. I think you should always be looking at the public. I think that's going to be a big factor, and I think a big key to this these games, because no matter what, you don't want to be on the side that everyone else is on. My personal opinion, I think spreads are going to be the way to go. And I also I was reading somewhere that the first game has notoriously gone under every single year. I guess maybe because you're the first one, the jitters, which is Mississippi State versus Michigan State, and both of them are a little bit of a nitty gritty defensive, bang around team. So there's a good chance that game could go under. So maybe, I'm not telling you to do it, but maybe to get a little juice to your money. If you wake up tomorrow and you see that the world is not on Michigan State and there's some money to be had there, I would buy up the under a little. Buy 3 or 4 points. Just give yourself a little wiggle room, and take Michigan State to win, and get yourself 3 bets worth of units. Give yourself some a little bit of juice right before it all goes down, because it doesn't hurt to bet a unit to get 3 units and to be able to spread those 3 units the rest of the way. Because once you got 3 units, then you can start feeling frisky with some of those upsets. On another upset I'll talk about, I don't think it will be, but I think taking spreads is a good way to make some money, because a lot of these teams are going to play hard and they're not going to want to get knocked out. But I was watching the Wagner versus Howard game, and Wagner had that huge lead and they almost blew it. I think something to look into was Wagner was only able to play 7 players, and they got into foul trouble against Howard, mainly their bigs. UNC has probably one of the best bigs in the country. He might cause them to get in a lot of foul trouble. So Wagner might not be able to cover their 24.5 spread if they do end up having that kind of an issue against Baycott, because Baycott might just be able to dunk at will on them.
That's insane.
Yeah. If you go into foul trouble against Howard, I don't know how you're going to do against UNC. Someone always gets blown out in the first round. I don't want to call you out, Wagner, but if you only got 7 guys, I don't know what you're going to do with Baycott the whole game, but the man's going to play like 28 to 35 minutes, so...
That's crazy. I would say one thing I've always liked to do is bet halftime, or bet halves, half money lines and half spreads, especially for these blowouts. I mean, it's pretty confident in saying that North Carolina's going to blow them out. 24 points, though, for some people like myself, is a little bit too much. So I like to do the half spread. They probably will get blown out by halftime. So if it's reasonable enough, I'll toss some money on that. Or I'll just include it in a parlay like, UNC halftime money line, and then I'll throw that on something else to juice it up a little bit. But
I think you're on the right track. I think second half spreads are the way to go, because a lot of time what happens is the underdog team gives them all they got for the first 20, and they start to fade the last 10 minutes of the second half. So the second half spread might be a little bit more of a safe bet, especially for a team kind of like I guess like Akron against Creighton, kind of example. I feel like for all intents and purposes, I think Akron can hang with Creighton for the first 20 minutes. Now there's going to be the second 20 minutes in which I think Creighton pulls away from their depth and everything else. I see it everywhere else too, but I think second half spreads are a little bit more where the money is. And everyone's all about betting the first half spreads, mainly because they want to get that money and reuse it by the second half.
See, you already know the trick. That's the good old trick. That's what I always tell people. So, throw a little gem out there, but take your time. Don't hey, only bet what you can. Don't don't go overboard. There's plenty of games. You don't need to bet everyone. So
I think the best thing to let you guys all know and what to tell you is like it's a marathon. It's not a race. there's going to be games on all day. And just because you're losing your first one, let's say that's Michigan State and Mississippi State, just say you're losing your first one, like, don't go re-upping on Michigan State or Mississippi State, to finish it for you. You might as well, sit back, relax. There's a lot more to come. Maybe settle in to watch Nevada destroy Dayton. Maybe try to make your money back on that one. Before everyone starts moving the market around, chasing. So,
yeah, good advice right there. That's March Madness, guys. Like I said, we'll reconvene next week. I don't know whether Monday or Wednesday, but we'll reconvene, and then we'll look forward to the Sweet 16. Anything else before we head on out? A little shorter of an episode, but I think we got a lot of gems packed in this one. Anything else you want to cover before we go?
Not to my knowledge. I know I got a Grambling versus who was it again? Montana State to get back to.
Montana State, yeah.
It's all behind me. I have no idea who's winning. I put my money where my mouth was. Everyone though, I put money on Grambling. It wasn't looking good first half. Montana State was just shooting threes way too well. So we're interested to see how the team's doing.
Grambling is up by 1 with 5:39 left.
That's what we like to hear. I got some NIT plays I put on. I did really well last night with NIT. I don't know if I'll tell you this right now. I think a good place for your money tonight. Unfortunately, our guest here won't be able to hear it, but I think taking the Columbia Lady Lions and the WNCAA first four, I think it's a good bet. They're playing Vanderbilt. I don't think Vanderbilt really beat a whole lot of teams that were that awesome this year. Whenever they played the good teams in the SEC, they kind of didn't hang around a while. But the Lady Lions had I think it was like a 20-game win streak going, and they lost in the conference final to Princeton. And the committee decided to give them a shot in the first four in. And I'm sorry, but a team that won 20 in a row, it sounds a little scary. And I think to under favor them and only let them be a 1-point favorite in this game, I think that's a little questionable. I think it's the best way to put it. I don't think this should be a 1-point favorite if you won 20 straight and then unfortunately lost in your conference tournament final conference tournament game. It wasn't like they lost in the first round or second round. They lost in the final round to a Princeton team. So
yeah, sounds a little fishy to me. I'm probably not going to bet on that, but
I just think there's not a lot of stock in them. Looking at the betting lines, there wasn't a whole lot of money being put on the game because no one's paying attention to the women's team. I was like, I'll pay attention to the women's bracket.
All right, you heard it from the man himself. Nothing else from me either. I think that's pretty much it. Pretty much settles everything. With that being said, guys, episode 81, MTL Sports Podcast. Thank you for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, TikTok, all that good stuff. We're out. We will see you next week. Have a good one. Peace.